Welcome to the Beyond Jiu Jitsu podcast. I'm your co-host, Kieren Lefebvre, joined by Adam Childs.
Good morning, Kieren.
Good morning,
Thanks
Adam.
for having me.
You're welcome.
Wait, hang on. It's my podcast too.
Sort of.
Kieren, it's a pleasure to have you.
Yes, thank you, thank you.
Episode 114. We're
114.
talking about competition formats and a little typical podcast fashion. Kieran's lost control of his microphone over there. In typical Beyond Jiu Jitsu podcast fashion, we'll also be shooting some shit.
Absolutely.
I was about to say, I haven't seen Kieren in a long time, but it's like, no, I saw him on like Friday or something.
Yeah.
We see each other so often in the gym.
It feels like I haven't seen you in forever.
It feels like forever.
Because it's Wednesday. And then you weren't in the gym on Monday. You're coming back from Melbourne. And then I wasn't in the gym yesterday and Tuesday because I was editing
A video.
a video.
Oh, why don't we quickly tell people about that video?
Sure, why not?
So I figured that's why you weren't in the gym, but
You got to
it'll
quick.
be old news by the time people listen to this. We typically record on a Wednesday for an episode that gets released on a Friday. So this will be a few days old news by the time people listen to this. However, there was John Danaher recently was on the Lex Friedman podcast where he spoke about the DDS breakup, which was, when that was back in now.
It's over a year ago.
Over a year ago.
Yeah. It's like June last year, I think.
Yeah. So then Kieren was like, man, I got to be quick.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then he posted quite a good little, I think a 6-minute video,
Yeah,
5 minute, not a
yeah,
long video,
Yeah.
more or less breaking down that podcast. So if you were like me and didn't want to have to listen to
4 hours.
it was a 4-hour
4.5 hour
podcast of
yeah.
Lex Friedman and John Danaher. Watch Kieren's video on his
Yeah.
YouTube channel, which is also where you see the podcast episodes.
For now.
For now, yeah, till they're migrated somewhere else. But yeah, he essentially said, well, you're more educated about me because you listened to those for 4 hours.
No, I just listened. I haven't even listened to the whole thing. Full disclosure, I just got the parts that I needed. And then, because you got to be quick, I got the video linked to me. And
Right at the end of the 4 episodes, Danaher's like, JK.
just kidding. Haha. Yeah, no, I just made sure I got all the points I talking about DDS split. So I got the video sent to me, and then I started taking notes on a video immediately and just rewatched and got anyway. So basically, Danaher comes out and breaks his silence on the DDS split. There's been speculation, rumor mill amongst like all the fanboys out there, and we all pretty much know what happened a couple months after.
You're a collective, are you? The
Yeah,
fanboys?
I am the fanboys. But I mean, people let shit slip. Like it's a big team, and people with information will tell someone, and then it will be leaked on Reddit or whatever. And so you just don't know unless it comes from one of the members themselves. You take everything with a grain of salt. But our speculation was correct. The split was basically due to personal conflict. It was just 100% personal conflict, big personalities within the team. And Danaher has come out and laid that most of it, if not all of that personal conflict between the two brothers, not the Rodriguez brothers, the Ryan brothers being Nicky and Gordon Ryan. And he was sort of like dancing around it a little bit, but sort of implicating that it was Nicky's fault. I was thinking about making it like clickbaity, the video, like, oh, John Danaher blames Nicky, but I'm like, I can't do that because it's not really an accurate reflection of the truth. But I expect someone to do that very shortly after the success of my video. Someone's going to make another one and take it that spin. I can guarantee it. But because he was basically saying, Nicky is the little plant underneath the bigger plant, and can't grow underneath the shade of the tree, as the saying goes. So Nicky wanted to move. And there's also other speculation about the origin of that personal conflict between the two brothers. And I mean, it's family related. It gets messy. And I think it moves beyond us being fanboys and just being nosy. You know what I mean? So I don't really care.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing that surprised me is why, I don't even understand why there was so much effort put into for no one to publicly talk about it, why the DDS squad split up. Like even the seminar we did with Craig a couple of months ago, when it got to the Q&A part, he was like, you can ask any question except for why the DDS split up.
Yeah.
You know, like if it's because two brothers had a falling out and then, you know, or certain personalities didn't get along and they decided to split and go their separate ways. Like, why did that have to be kept a secret? Like, that's no fucking big deal, man. Like, that happens in...
I think they're being respectful to Nikki. I think what it was is everyone was being respectful to Nikki and Gordon. And I think the beef is like real personal family stuff. Like I'll just go and say it because it won't take you long to find it. This isn't coming from me, but this is the speculation that some of their issue arose from a financial disagreement over their father's estate because the split came very shortly after their father passed away, unfortunately. So that's where some of the speculation comes from, and that just obviously there would have been contention and tension between the two brothers prior to that, and that was like the catalyst that brought it forward. I didn't want to mention that in the video because it's none of my business, and I think it gets a bit
that's the thing as well. Like it would be, if when they split up, they were like, oh, look, a couple of the members, like, why didn't they just say something like, oh, a few of the team members have kind of fallen out. And,
they did. They did, but that wasn't good enough for the people. When they first, I will cast my mind back, when they first split, Danaher made an Instagram post that listed out a whole bunch of things. And of those things, one of them was personality. I believe the wording he used was personality conflicts within the team. I mean, I've done a lot of videos on this because I farm it for views. No shame there. I don't give a fuck. I farm the shit out of this, so I've seen most of what is out there in the speculation, and they did, but that just wasn't good enough for people. You know what I mean? And people to this day still believe this was some sort of marketing play. I think those people are just they're just hanging on. They're clutching at straws now at this point. But what I find very interesting though, and I kind of wish I included this in the video, and I might even do a follow-up, but I don't know if I can bring myself to do it because it's kind of like selling your soul to the devil a little bit. You kind of lose credibility. Here's one for you. Craig Jones recently did a podcast episode, the one that you sent me this morning, which I had seen it. It's from the Fight Dietitian. If you don't know the Fight Dietitian, legend in the industry. He had Craig Jones on, and Craig mentioned something interesting that at the last ADCC, at ADCC 2022, in his words, that when he saw Danaher, that Danaher sort of gave him the cold shoulder. And it wasn't like they said hello, but, they didn't get along. Like it wasn't, in Craig's words, it wasn't like getting along like a house on fire, because that's exactly the phrase that Danaher used when he described when he ran into the team members. So on Lex Friedman's podcast, Danaher said it was like... Yeah. And for those that don't know, apparently this is an Australian/New Zealand saying. And it's a good thing. If you say, oh, we get along like a house on fire, that's a positive thing. Like you get along really well is what that means. Americans
so Danaher said that him and the old team members did get along.
Yes.
But Craig
literally, and it's ironic because they would have been recording the episodes at a very similar time. They got released at a very, very similar time, within hours of each other, coincidentally, and they're directly in conflict with one another. Like Danaher is on the record saying, oh, I still get along with all my team, like previous team members. It was, basically saying, I had nothing to do with it. And Craig is saying, well, the same thing. Oh, I had nothing to do with it, but I don't get along with, like, it's awkward between Danaher, and he brushed us off, basically, which is, complete contradiction. So it's I mean, again, this is just drama, but it's interesting because these guys are like the best in our sport. So people are interested in them. You know what I mean? They're celebrities.
Yeah. I mean, I've, met Craig, met and trained with Craig, a handful of times throughout the years, but I wouldn't say, like, I don't know him that well.
Yeah.
Right. I just, we've met a bunch of times, but just seems like a normal dude. Yeah. Danaher, I've never met, right?
Yeah.
So anything I know about Danaher would just be from what I've seen of him in videos and whatever. But so I may be wrong. However, Danaher definitely strikes me as someone who is not great at social cues and maybe not.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe a little bit socially awkward and maybe not great at reading emotional cues, or I don't know. I could be wrong. They got a name for that. Yeah. I could be very wrong.
I think you might be onto something.
So he may have thought that it was all, happy-go-lucky running into
Yeah.
the team, and
Or
maybe it
hunky-dory.
wasn't. Well,
Yeah.
so I don't know. Man, actually, I really don't even care. But,
I know you don't.
but yeah, it's
I find it interesting.
definitely. I just kind of don't know why it was so hush-hush all over the place. Like, I definitely understand not wanting to, give the details to the public as to why the brothers had the falling out. But, if it is to do with his dad's estate, that's very sad to see. But
That's what I've heard. I don't even know it's true.
It's not like they would be the first siblings to have a falling out over a inheritance or a will, or like it happens all the time.
Yeah, unfortunately.
It's
such a
unfortunately,
sad
it
thing
happens
to like
all
give a
the
shit
time.
about.
Particularly
These guys, like they're so. I mean, I don't want to speculate, but I mean, to have a falling out, if it is over money, that sucks. But obviously, that would only be that's not the reason. That's like the topic of their falling out. You know what I mean? The reasons would be much deeper than that.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Their money might be just essentially the root of it.
But I mean, fuck, if this develops, and Craig, shout out to Craig Jones, commented on my video. Did you see that?
That's the thing I wanted to quickly mention. So there were a couple of comments from Craig. One was on a Reddit post linking the episode with Danaher and Lex, where Craig just commented something along the lines of,
comment, but
so now you want to talk about the split, do you? Something along the lines of that.
Yeah.
But then he commented on your video because there were a few other things that Danaher mentioned in the video.
Yes.
In the podcast, sorry.
The gym one,
right.
How like they stole the gym or whatever, they took the gym from him.
That's right. So in the podcast, he had said that, so they all decided as a team to go to Puerto Rico, right, because of COVID and everything and not being able to train in New York and whatever. And then I think that's where things started falling apart because John said that the living conditions changed. You know, in New York, you could kind of, it's a big city, whatever, but they were, living conditions changed and people were living together. And so any conflicts got magnified.
Yeah.
And then the plan was for the DDS to relocate to Austin. But so according to John, B team got there first and took the gym space. The
way he phrased it and like his sort of like quirkiness about it was, the way he was talking about it, I had found this gym and my ex-teammates stole it from underneath me.
Yeah.
That's the way.
And then
that's
he was
what
like,
saying.
so then we were left without anywhere to train.
He literally said we were left homeless.
Yeah, that's right. He did.
Yeah.
And he goes, so it was a dark time for me and Gordon and whatever. Anyway, but then, so Craig quickly addressed that, commenting on your video. He said
100% false. He said, he didn't say 100% false. He said, we stole, literally the comment was something along the lines of, we stole the gym from him. False. We didn't like hard training. False. The split was 100% due to personality conflicts. That is it. Which we know. Yeah. We know all this. It's just like people just love speculation. But we've known this for like over a year. We've known all this. And I think why the B team and particularly Craig might be a bit pissed off and why he's coming out with these comments now like, oh, now you want to fucking talk about it, is because they all made this unspoken, perhaps, agreement, and maybe within their respective camps it was a spoken agreement like, hey, we're just not going to talk about it because it's family issues. Like if it is family issues, which it is between Nikki and Gordon, why would you go spouting it off to, your hundreds of thousands of fans?
Yeah,
like
that's right.
It's airing dirty laundry, regardless of whether they're these athletes, these like superstars in our sport. You're bringing up their like personal shit. And if it's a teammate, like if Nikki was my teammate, I wouldn't want to be talking about his personal shit.
Yeah, because regardless of which side you fall on, you're either going to be, on Nikki Ryan's side or Gordon Ryan's side. Exactly. So either side that you fall, it doesn't matter. You would, if you were with the B team, you wouldn't want to do that to your friend and teammate Nikki. And if likewise, you're at New Wave, you wouldn't want to do that to your friend and teammate Gordon.
So I totally respect where they're coming from. Ironically, I say I respect it, yet I've made 5 videos on it, like speculating and talking shit. Ironically, yes. But
I mean, you're a human piece of trash.
I'm a piece of shit. I farm the DDS of views. What can I say?
Kieren, an up and coming Andrew Tate.
Oh, mate, tell me about it. I'm so shameless about it. I don't give a fuck. Like I farm the shit out of it. But like I understand where they're coming from. I understand why they didn't want to air it. And I think that Craig is, and there would be more people that are like, what the fuck, John? Now that he's just decided, because he's on the Lex Fridman podcast, one of the biggest podcasts in the world, huge platform, that he's going to then, tell the world in his own words, like break the silence, if you will, which is literally the title of my video, because it's literally what he has done. And I think they're kind of like, what the fuck? Now you want to go? Like, now you want to mention all this?
Yeah.
Man, I don't think we've heard the end of it. I think we're going to see some sort of reply maybe, or some sort of something response. But they've been fueling the fire on this flame, if you will, like, because Nikki Rod did say some, and Craig mentioned this in that podcast you linked me, the one with the fight dietitian, that Nikki Rod said some shit. He was talking shit in the lead up to ADCC on another, on the Chambers podcast. And I made a video on that, of course. He was talking some mad shit about Gordon, which made people think that it was a Nikki Rod versus Gordon thing. But, our original sort of understanding that it was between the brothers when the brothers went to different teams is pretty fucking obvious. And in that video, I identified, it's pretty obvious what this is. But I don't think it took a super genius to figure that out, that if the two brothers went separate ways, you'd be maybe there's something there.
Why aren't the two brothers staying together?
And that's what I was hearing
be
in the rumor mill,
If there was a split at Atos and the two Rotolo brothers, like, I know they're twins and that Gordon and Nikki aren't. You imagine if there was a split and, the two Mendez brothers, you split it, art of Jiu Jitsu, and the two Mendez brothers go different ways, you would have to assume that there was something going on there.
Because like family members, you would think, are gonna stick together, or like if two best friends even had like some sort of gym together, and then all of a sudden they split and they're making like gyms on opposite sides of the city that they're in or whatever. But anyway, that's this wasn't meant to be a DDS episode.
Yeah, we specifically didn't really want to talk that much about
because
it.
We know we're going to be out of date.
Yeah,
by the time this releases, Craig Jones is probably going to make a video. Something's going to be happening. Like if you're listening to this and you're like, but why aren't these guys talking about this thing? Well, it's because we're recording this on the Wednesday. Like literally, I think the Lex Fridman podcast episode's been out for less than 24 hours. My video's been out for, Lex Fridman's been out for 24 hours. My video's been out for like 12.
Yeah, and by the time this comes out, there'll be other videos and whatever.
Yeah, people always copy me. As soon as, like, with this DDS thing, I make a video and then someone else will farm it as well. Like, no shame.
Yeah, you're all just a bunch of losers.
We're all just fucking maggots.
I hate you all.
I will say anything to get you click on my shit. Yeah. Nah, but thanks for watching the video.
Yeah. Look at him, cheeky smirk.
I get so much hate as well. Like, some dude was like, he made a comment on that video and he said something, because I read every comment, and it's something along the lines of like, video was great, but the commentary wasn't really needed, like my commentary. But then wouldn't you just go watch the fucking podcast episode? Like I would just be stealing Lex's content, right? It just didn't make sense.
Right,
when you make a video like this, the reason I can like air quote get away with it is because I'm adding value to, well, in some people's eyes, I'm adding value by adding the commentary to the clips. I'm editing down all the clips. Like
I didn't want to watch a four
No, and he repeated himself so long. So that section that I got where I narrowed down, I think it was about 3.5, 4 minutes maybe of Danaher actually talking in that video. He spoke about the Danaher, the DDS split for like 20 minutes, right? But he kept repeating himself and saying shit real slow. So I had to cut it up, and I hit it with B-roll and everything like that. So I cut it up, right? But if I just took that segment, those segments, and just posted on my channel, that is just stealing Lex's content and trying to make money off it.
That's right. Yeah.
That's not fair use. That's silly. That's copyrighted. So that's why I add B-roll. That's why I cut it. That's why I add commentary, because I'm adding value to the conversation, supposedly.
I wonder, like, if I'm just doing a real quick scroll on Lex's YouTube, if there were any sort of comments addressing it at all.
I don't think there was.
There's not.
It's too like
most of them are this. Like someone's right. If you dropped an episode with Danaher every week,
I saw that. I'd watch every single one. Yeah,
Jeez, I wouldn't. 5 hours of Danaher, you made my day. What?
Okay, don't be a hater.
But I like
turning into a hater,
this one.
Adam.
John in his rash guard opposite Lex in his Hitman outfit is a joy to behold.
Yeah, 100%.
If you've never seen Lex's podcast, like he's always in a
suit. It's his thing.
And a tie.
It's his thing. He's always in a suit and a tie.
Yeah.
But on I do have to give a shout out to this person. I hope they listen to this episode. They commented on my video talking about it because I mentioned the whole gym thing because I thought that was pretty juicy. how like supposedly Danaher was saying that the B team stole the gym. And someone commented, well, Craig Jones obviously didn't have anything to do with it because he always comes second.
That's funny.
Something along those lines. I thought it was fucking hilarious. So underrated. I pinned it. Very, very funny. But
he could definitely be using that whole thing as, pickup line with the chicks.
Oh,
right?
yeah, always comes second. Yeah, man. I don't think, like he's married though, but anyway.
Craig?
Yeah.
Craig Jones?
Craig Jones is married, yeah.
What? To who?
I don't know. He's very private, but yeah, Jeremy told me. I had no idea.
Craig's married.
Craig's married. Apparently, that's what Jeremy told me. Craig Jones is married. His wife's American. That's how he got a green card to go to the States.
Oh, it makes sense now.
Yeah. Not that he could get a professional.
Yeah.
He could get
Yeah.
The fuck are you? Pull your head in. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he is. Maybe he's not. Fuck. I'm 99% sure that Jeremy told me. Anyway.
Not that I'm surprised. I mean, why?
It's very private though, clearly, which is ironic because he's like has all those jokes. He's like the sex joke guy.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think that it's it is what it is. This is literally the DDS episode now, bro.
It's a bit unfortunate that we've come this far.
Yeah.
As we started talking, I was like episode 114, we're going to talk about competition formats and blah blah blah. But briefly, we got to mention this, and we only got a couple of sentences in, and I was like,
he's ranting. Kieren's ranting.
Kieren's getting all worked up. But while we're slight segue, I don't know much about Lex Friedman, right? Like, I mean, I know he has a very successful podcast. Probably, I would assume
I watch all his
educated guess. I would assume he's probably just second to Joe Rogan, right?
Not quite. Like he is touted.
He'd be up there.
He's very, very up there. Like he's touted as having the second biggest podcast in the world after Joe Rogan. I'm not sure. I haven't validated that. There are some pretty fucking big podcasts out there, but he's up there. He's in the conversation. He's definitely in the top 50 podcasts in the world.
So what's he? I mean, Joe Rogan, right, is someone who before he started his podcast, he was already famous, right? He was a comedian. He had hosted TV shows like Fear Factory or whatever it was called. Fear Factor. UFC commentator and everything. Known for being a legend, a Jiu Jitsu fighter and a legend.
Yeah,
and whatever else, and taking ivermectin and all that stuff is great. I don't know anything about Lex. Like, is Lex just a dude who started a podcast, or does he?
So he's an AI specialist. He's a scientist. Right. He specializes in artificial intelligence. He's very interested in philosophy as well. So he's an interesting mix. He's not like your stereotypical off the shelf data guy, and he just talks about the analytics. He's very into philosophy and human nature and concepts like love. He talks about love a lot, and the goodness in people and human nature, and sees the beauty in all things, which is a very interesting dichotomy from someone of his background, right? But very well educated AI specialist who also has a keen interest in philosophy and people. And it's just a really good mix because he can talk the talk with the science guys, but he can also, come at it from a different perspective, a more human perspective, if you will. And I really like him.
But what's his connection to Jiu Jitsu?
Oh, he's a black belt.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he's a BJJ.
I was like, because if he's just but if he's an AI
just some random
scientist,
guy.
philosopher, I'm like,
I get you.
What's he doing having John Danaher?
No, he's a BJJ black belt. I'm not sure who he was graded under, but I mean, he's been on Joe Rogan like 10 times. He trains with Joe Rogan. He trains with Eddie Bravo. Like he's in that like that crew, if you will.
Yeah.
And he has jiu-jitsu people on from time to time. He's been on this foray of having heaps of chess people on, which is great because I'm fucking really into chess.
Yeah, so you following the? I like chess.
You want to talk about Hans Niemann?
Is that the cheating dude?
Yeah, man. I'm all up to date,
dude. Chess. I mean, I love the idea of chess. I would lose to a 5-year-old. I am so bad at chess. So bad. Yeah, I would like to be good at it. Like I remember I went down a rabbit hole once of trying to learn a bit, but I think it would have been the equivalent of someone being like, I can pick up some jiu-jitsu, watch like a bunch of YouTube videos and do 1-2 classes and be like, oh, this is way harder than I thought it would be.
Yeah, I'm like,
I'm terrible, but I like chess. I obviously know who I always forget his name, but Magnus Carlsen.
Magnus Carlsen, yeah.
Carlsen.
World chess champion.
Yeah, who's the guy who recently – so there's – I mean, people who don't know anything about chess, there's recently been a dude – what did you say his name was?
Hans Niemann.
Hans Niemann, who has been caught cheating in online chess.
Yep.
Right? Maybe not caught, but didn't he admit to it or something, right?
Yeah.
But there was a match where he was against Magnus and didn't Magnus instantly just instantly quit the game or something like that?
Oh, that was the second one. So fuck, this episode is like definitely not what we wanted, but it's fun. Okay, Hans.
It is little air quotes beyond.
Yeah, very much. This is now fucking chess. The chess podcast. So if you don't know anything about this, or maybe you've seen the headlines, because a mate of mine, he's like, was asking me about it because he's seen the headlines, but isn't really interested in chess. But because I've been following it so closely, I'm like literally downloading all this information.
And I would say there's probably a lot more people today into chess than there were a year ago prior to the Queen's Gambit.
Oh, the Queen's Gambit.
Got heaps of people into chess.
I was into it well and truly before, but like it's so much better now because there's so much more viewership. So there's more events and everything. It's great. Yeah. But here's what's happened. So the Sinquefield Cup, which is a chess tournament annual chess tournament held in St. Louis, which is like the United States hub of chess, right? The St. Louis Chess Club. And at the last minute, a competitor, Richard Rapport, who is one of my favorite chess players, absolutely awesome chess player, he wasn't able to make it for whatever reason. He just couldn't go. So lastminute.com replaced him with Hans Niemann. Hans Niemann is a upcoming junior superstar. He was just shy of 2,700 rated, which is very, very high, grandmaster. He's 19 years old from the United States. And there's been a lot of rumors about this guy previous to this that he was cheating over the board. So there's two different types of chess, right? You have chess online and chess over the board. And the whole thing was like, oh yeah, Hans is cheating online, but he is also cheating over the board, which is very hard to prove. Carlsen obviously knows about this. A whole bunch of other super grandmasters that were in the event, like Nepo, were like not happy that Hans was invited.
Because cheating online is obviously relatively easy in the sense
it's incredibly
that you
easy.
Have like
all you do is you just have a chess engine up on your computer, and that's how they catch a lot of people on websites like chess.com. It's called tabbing. So you tab from one off of the browser, and they track your clicks because they're using cookies.
Yeah.
So they can track your clicks. And if you tab off and tab back on and then perform better, obviously that's a clear indication of cheating. You can have chess engines on your phone.
Yeah,
like
that's
I have
right.
a chess engine on my
laptop, a second computer.
Quite easily. Like I have chess engines on my computer. Not to say that I cheat. I'm just saying I have them for study and looking at chess analysis, right?
And this might be one of those random things you hear that's wrong, or one of those random facts that you make up. But am I correct in saying that chess, like at the highest difficulty or whatever of chess AI, like you can't beat it?
Yeah, it's like, technically rated 3,800, 3,800. The highest rated human is Magnus Carlsen, and he's, I believe, just shy of 2,900. So he's like 2,880 or something rated on the FIDE chess rating. It's basically a number. It's not linear. It's the higher you get, the bigger the difference between the numbers. And in comparison, the best chess AI, Stockfish or even AlphaZero, is rated 3,800.
Yeah,
so it's impossible to beat.
Yeah. So
these days, no human can beat a computer. It's just not possible.
So online, you can quite easily get access to AI or whatever, or chess engines that are far superior to the opponent you'll be playing.
Oh, yeah. No one can beat a computer. But the thing is that...
This is great. I'm loving this episode. Now you know way more about chess than I was expecting.
I know a lot about this, dude. I know a lot about this shit. So
fucking make a video, bro. Get some farm that shit.
I'm like, well, it's really... I'm stupid, man. I'm like fucking rated 1,000. I'm terrible.
So go on. So he's been accused of cheating online and over the board.
So he's been accused of cheating. Magnus Carlsen wanted to pull out of the Sinquefield Cup before he even started playing it, but for whatever reason he didn't. In hindsight, he should have just pulled out because of Hans.
Is Sinquefield Cup over the board or online?
Over the board. Okay. This is all over the board. So anyway, Magnus Carlsen plays the event. First two games, he's fine. The third game, he plays Hans. Hans has the black pieces. And for those that don't know, chess at the highest levels is incredibly difficult to win with the black pieces. Like if you beat a higher rated player with black, it's incredible. It's like not unheard of.
White gets to move first.
Yes, and you might think, but it's just one move, but that changes the game completely. It's the difference between opening and like attacking and defending. It's a big thing. Just trust me on it. So Magnus loses with the white pieces, which he was on like a 57 game streak, meaning he hadn't lost. He hadn't won every game in 57, but he hadn't lost in like 57 games in a row at the highest level. And then this kid, 19-year-old, just comes out and beats him. And in his own words, wasn't even trying at some points, wasn't even focused on the game. So Magnus has strong suspicions that he was cheating.
Which is funny because I've seen a lot of videos of Magnus destroy people where it looks like he's not focused or paying attention.
It's Magnus. Yeah. So he pulls out of the tournament. And for those that are interested, it means that the rating loss that he would have suffered from losing to Hans is null and void because all of his tournament results are cancelled because you need to play at least 50% of a chess tournament for it to count. That's just a weird rule they have. He pulls out, and then the chess world just spins up in this massive buzz that has, and Elon Musk, right? So this is the thing that made it mainstream. What happened was a chess streamer who goes by the name of Chess Bra, because there's two Chess Bras, right? And this chess streamer made some funny comment on a late night stream, something about, I don't even know how you would cheat, talking about Hans. He must have unless he's got some sort of anal beads or something. That one little comment has now been spun up like Hans Niemann cheats by anal beads. Absolute, Super Grandmaster uses sex toy to take down Magnus Carlsen. You can imagine. I was talking before about all the shit that I spin up for my clickbait with the DDS. This is like that on a fucking next level.
Man, the chess community would be loving all the chess memes and everything that are coming from this.
They do, but they don't. It's funny for someone like me who's a fringe observer. I'm super low rated. I think it's fantastic. But for the Super Grandmasters and the guys that make a living from this, they like to farm views, but they're kind of getting sick of it because it's dragging on and it's just silly now. And then Elon Musk retweets it, retweets this clip from the Chess Bra talking, saying the anal bead comment. And then all of a sudden, that's when the media really latched on. It's because Elon's tweet or his retweet, if you will, which is hilarious that, someone like Elon gets onto this. And then, which links back to Lex Friedman having all these chess people on recently to talk about it because he's like, okay, let's get to the bottom of this. What's going on? And it's hot right now. And
How would you cheat over the board?
Well, you could do it many different ways. You could have some sort of earpiece, and the speculation is that they can also have a device. You're not allowed to wear a watch, for example, because your watch could help you cheat. But think about it like this.
How?
Think about it like this, right? So say you're wearing a watch and say you have a device in that watch that has some sort of not to bring it back to the anal beads thing, but it could give you signals via buzzing. If you have someone watching the chess game, they figure out the chess moves on an engine, then they send a signal to your watch, which buzzes in Morse code or some sort of code to tell you what move to play. And the important thing to remember is you don't need every single move. And this is something the Super Grandmasters and all the chess creators have been talking about constantly, is that you don't need every single move. You only need one or two in the key positions at that levels. And you don't even need to know the move. Just know that there is a move and then you will find it. Because computers, when you give a Super Grandmaster a computer, give them a position that may look equal, but you say, hang on a minute, this isn't equal. You have a +5 advantage right here. If you find the one move, they will find it. It's we're talking about chess at the absolute highest level. So they just have to know a move exists and then they'll be, oh, no way, it's this.
So the anal beads thing is not incorrect. If he essentially had
he could have
anal bead butt plug that buzzed, Magnus is he didn't even look focused. I mean, he looked like he was enjoying himself.
There's so many memes of proof that Hans Niemann cheated versus Magnus, and they play a clip and then they play a buzzing sound over the top.
Okay, so. But then there's been something else, right? I read.
Oh, there's been heaps.
But I read I read that he admitted to cheating, right, or something.
So now we're confusing. So what happened is he came out at the Singfield Cup because they asked him about it. He won another game or something like that, and he had an interview because contractually they have to have an interview if they've drawn or won the game. They have to agree to an interview. That's in their contract, right? So Hans Niemann went on for an interview and he said, I will do the interview, but only if you don't interrupt me and you let me speak. And they're like, okay. And he went on this 10-minute rant, which is now the famous interview where he poured his heart out, and said, I cheated when I was 12 years old and when I was 16 years old on chess.com. I was caught for it. I apologized. I never cheated in any serious events. I've never cheated over the board, and I never cheated in cash prize, like any cash tournaments. So those that don't know, there's cash prizes on chess.com. The famous one, or the most popular, is Title Tuesday. Every Tuesday, only title players can play it. You win $1,000. Right?
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really, it's awesome for them. It's one of the most entertaining things to watch. Anyway. So he went out and, had this big rant, and then the chess community all of a sudden turned on Magnus and was like, fuck Magnus. Like, why is he trying to destroy this kid's career? He's made some mistakes in the past. All of a sudden, Hans Niemann is like touted to be this, like a superstar almost overnight. Like, everyone was on his side, but he lied in the interview. And chess.com came out and released a 72-page report called the Hans Niemann Report, which basically outlined all these lies. Like, no,
you know a lot about chess. This is great,
dude. I'm telling you, I don't know who would be listening to this at this point, but if you find this interesting, there's so much more. I've watched every single video.
Well, even if you're not into chess, I think
it's interesting.
One of the things that you don't have to train for a huge amount of time to be told that, in Brazil, Jiu Jitsu is often referred to a physical game of chess.
Yeah, totally.
That's often, the chess analogy to Jiu Jitsu, that's been around longer than I've been making analogies for.
Yeah, and funnily enough.
So I think even if you're not into chess, if you're into Jiu Jitsu, you're kind of like can at least identify with how the strategy of chess is so
similar. It's similar. There are similarities that you can.
I often say to students that jiu-jitsu is kind of like playing chess, but you can each move each other's pieces.
Yeah, that's
you still got to be within the rules of a chessboard, but you're each moving each other's pieces, So
much more complex. And funnily enough, one of the most popular chess podcasts, brand new chess podcasts, called C Squared. And the co-host of that is a grandmaster, and his name's Christian, and he is into jiu-jitsu. I'm not sure what belt he is, but in his episodes, he's wearing Mexican ground karate shirts.
Oh, he's in.
So when I jumped onto it, I jumped on the comments like, oh shit. And he talked about on his chess podcast, he was talking about ADCC.
I'm just going to know. Can you write that down for me? What are they called?
C Squared.
C Squared.
C Squared. Yeah.
C Squared podcast. Cool.
Yeah. It's a fucking awesome podcast. So shout out to C Squared. If you're into chess, you will absolutely love that podcast. And
I'm into chess. Let's go back. So so the 72-page report.
Yeah, so Hans Niemann Report from chess.com. So we skipped over a few things, but they're not really that interesting or important. So chess.com was like, nah, he's lying. We're going to have official, like that was in their official statement, like he's lying. And then they come out with this report. So in the report, they say at the start, it's all lawyer speak, a lot of it, but think of it like an actual like university report. It's got references, it's got annexes and everything, right? At the very start of the report, they basically say, we don't have any evidence to support that Hans Niemann cheated over the board. But further on the report, they give all this evidence to suggest that they think he's cheating over the board. So on the one hand, they made the official lawyer statement like, we don't have any proof, therefore we conclude that he's probably not cheating or he's not cheating. And then in the report, here's all the proof.
Yeah, right.
It's really, really silly. It's funny. But the most important thing was the whole back to Hans's interview, how he said, I never cheated in any cash prize tournaments, only cheated when I was 12 and 16. Completely lied. He cheated in over 100 games, and they have all of these incidences, the date, and how many games he cheated in, including Title Tuesday, so including for cash prizes.
Yeah, right.
So he got caught out lying, and he actually got caught cheating in a friendly, like a blitz match, like a 3-minute. Blitz is 3 minutes or 5, but everyone plays 3 minutes against Daniel Naroditsky, which is a very, very popular YouTuber, chess streamer and YouTuber, and he got caught cheating in 14 of 14 games that they played that day. And then him and another YouTuber ended up reviewing them and then like being, okay, did he cheat? We don't know. But yeah, that's where it's at today. Magnus also has released a statement.
But yeah, am I confusing stories? Was it at the St. Louis Cup where then Magnus like quit straight away as soon as the game started?
No, so that was in a follow along tournament that they were both agreed to play in. It was like an online event that they both had already previously agreed to play in. I believe it was Chess24. So the Magnus Play Group owns the chess online chess company called Chess24, as well as Chessable and a couple others in the Magnus Play app, and it was a Chess24 event, so Magnus has co-ownership of that company. They'd already agreed to play it. Contracts were signed, and you can't resign a game in the first move on a lot of websites. So he made one move against Hans and then resigned.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So he said, and then he said in an official statement that came out shortly after that he will not be playing. He has strong suspicions that Hans Niemann has cheated over the board, and he knows that he's cheated online in the past, and he will not be playing against cheaters. So he's like basically saying that he's worried about what they can do in the future, I think was his specific words. And, he thinks more needs to be done. So
who knew that there could be so much scandal in the chess world?
Oh, there's heaps.
I love it, bro.
We haven't even talked about the Delugi thing. So Magnus called out, this is the latest. Magnus called out in one of his interviews that he did before his statement at that event that we're talking about, that Chess24 event, that Maxime Delugi, who is So Maxime Delugi is a grandmaster who got caught cheating as well on chess.com.
Right.
And his account got banned twice. Caught cheating in Titled Tuesday, the cash event.
Yeah.
And he said that Maxime Delugi, Hans's mentor, must be doing a really good job, because Maxime Delugi is Hans's mentor in his own words, Hans's mentor, but not his coach anymore.
Right.
Maxime Delugi is from New York, and he's a grandmaster that runs a chess school for kids. And so he a school program for kids. So that's his main income, right? And he got caught cheating twice on chess.com. He admitted to it via emails. And those emails are part of what got leaked, not leaked, but published by chess.com. And now there's a big thing. He's threatening to sue chess.com for leaking confidential emails. And he's saying that he has nothing to do with Hans. And this is he's going to sue Magnus as well. And yeah, it's just this big thing.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's funny. But anyway, if you listen to 20 minutes of chess update.
No, that was awesome. I found that super, super entertaining, because... Yeah, I don't know. It's different to, talking about, Nikki and Gordon and having family issues and whatever. It'd be.
Yeah, this is a scandal. Straight up scandal.
And you're talking about people who are at the elite in what they do. If we take the exact same DDS scenario, but imagine it was something like, it was a split because there were. Let's imagine in some weird parallel universe that people didn't take gear in Jiu Jitsu. Just bear with me. Imagine, right?
Yep,
imagine it was considered cheating to take steroids in Jiu Jitsu and they tested for it and stuff like the Olympics. Imagine.
Yeah.
And at DDS, there were, some athletes who were cheating and the others who didn't want to and blah, 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 and that's why it fell apart. So that would be something that I'd be like, yeah, this is entertaining, because you're looking at the elite of the sport have conflicts because some people are wanting to cheat and some aren't, That's kind of this chess thing. So even though I'm not, I like the game of chess, but I don't follow it, I found that whole 20 minutes really interesting, because you're that is... Man, people cheating at the highest level. I mean, pieces of shit for doing it, totally. But it's kind of holy crap, this shit goes on. But yeah, I mean, we're kind of a bit of a leap to get there for jiu-jitsu and steroids. I mean, it's, but imagine that sort of world one day, maybe.
But I mean, in chess at the highest levels, people have been caught cheating. There was this one famous case where this guy hid a mobile phone in the bathroom and kept going to the bathroom and trying to check chess engines, and he got caught red-handed with the phone a chess engine.
Because a standard game doesn't have a time limit, does it?
No, they do. They all have time limits, but so there's different types of chess.
Yeah, there's chess that
there's bullet chess, which
they'll come back the next day, right, and continue the game.
Yeah, maybe in the chess world championships, you can have something multiple games in one sort of. Multiple games against the same person. The Chess World Championships, I think it's 13 games or something. It's the best out of 13 or something crazy like that. But the time control, I think that's the longest time control as well. I think both people get 3 hours.
Is a standard one. That's the one where they're hitting the clock.
Yeah. Right. So all chess at the highest levels have a chess clock. Otherwise you would be there. You could take 2 months to make a move. It would be ridiculous, right? So all chess these days has a clock, and different types of time controls require different strategies, different openings, different whatever. So there's bullet chess, which is a minute, or super bullet or hyper bullet as they call it, 30 seconds. Then you have blitz, which is 3 minutes or 5 minutes. And then you have rapid, which is 10 or 15 minutes. I think 30 counts as rapid as well. And then your classical chess, as it's referred to, which is all the chess we're talking about, like when we talk Magnus Carlsen, all these super grandmasters, all their rating is based on classical chess. Depends on the whatever tournament you're in, but each player normally gets about 90 minutes plus time control. So meaning every time you make a move, you get an additional 5 seconds or whatever. Right. It's called an interval. And that's really important for time scrambles. And then at the I think the 40th move, I believe, unless I'm confusing it, at the 40th move, each player gets an additional 30 minutes. So it's 90 minutes plus 30 on the 40th move. It might be the 30th. No, I'm pretty sure it's the 40th.
See, now you're losing me. Now it's not interesting.
Yeah, but those are the time controls.
Yeah.
So, when we're talking about this, we're talking about classical chess. But the time control is important when we're talking about how they would cheat. So a way to stop cheating now is there's no spectators are allowed in the room, and there is a time delay of at least 30 minutes, and some argue it should be longer, on the broadcast. Yeah. So if there's no time delay, that's how you get the signals to the butt plug, right?
Stream snipe.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So someone is watching the stream. Someone is, operating on a chess engine, figuring out the best moves in the critical positions, sends the buzzing to Hans Niemann's butt plug, and then he gets the move. Like, yep, he knows the move, and in the critical position, and then because he's still a super grandmaster, he can play it out from there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
he is still.
People go to crazy lengths to cheat. I mean, there was a guy, I can't remember his name, but it was in the Olympics, and he was in I think it was the decathlon. I don't think it was just fencing. I think it was the fencing portion of the decathlon or whatever. But he had crafted I don't know how he did it, but you know how in fencing it, registers the hits. He had somehow modified his saber or whatever the correct term is for it, that it would register hits when there wasn't a hit. So he would score points when he shouldn't have scored points, right? Crazy. He got caught with that. There's people go to crazy complicated lengths. I mean, God, for those who have been under a rock for the past 5 years or whenever it came out, like Icarus, the documentary that was started as a documentary about how easy or difficult is it to dope in the cycling world. Yeah. That's how it started. And then it ended up being this unraveled into, how Russia was their whole doping program and how the KGB were involved and, what the lengths they were going to cheat at the Olympics and stuff. Crazy.
Well, it is crazy. And that's what people point to, that the Russians have been cheating in chess as well, but a different sort of way. And there's been talks about that for forever. Even Bobby Fischer came out and accused some of the Soviets from cheating.
Going back half a century or whatever, traditionally the Soviets were the best chess players in the world, correct?
They still are up there. Like the number 2 chess, well, not by rating, but so Magnus isn't playing the World Chess Championship. He's decided to step down from it. And the 2 players that are in that is Nepo and Ding Liren. So a Chinese player and a Russian player. So they still have some of the best players in the world are Russian or from that Soviet bloc. So the ex-USSR bloc. They're still some of the best players. And Karparov is arguably one of the, if not the greatest chess player of all time. He was like ranked number 1 for 22 years or something like that. They're still very dominant in chess.
I reckon I could smoke you in a game of checkers, though.
Checkers?
Yeah,
I don't even know how to play chess.
Probably checkers. Yeah, probably not. No. Oh man, that was interesting. So off topic, but
I'm a chess nerd.
I thought that was cool. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of parallels between Jiu Jitsu and chess, and But imagine playing chess. You move a piece, and your opponent just goes no and moves it back. That's sometimes Jiu Jitsu. You get a grip, and they're like no, and they break the grip. Well, that was a little bit, completely not what we were supposed to talk about today.
Our topic got
so competition formats will be for a future episode. Yeah. But how that started was Kieren recently competed on the weekend in a round robin tournament. So, which, spoiler alert, he hated. So, so we were just going to talk about that, but we'll leave that for another day. The chess portion of the episode is current and up to date. As we said, before,
That's so funny.
the DDS split stuff will probably be a little
date.
out of date in the few days by the time this is recorded and come out. However, there's the Lex Friedman podcast is there with John Danaher if you choose to go listen to it. I want to give a shout out to this C Squared chess podcast because you said one of the hosts is
Jiu Jitsu practitioner,
Jiu Jitsu guy, often wearing B team stuff. So
yeah, it's funny that their chess podcast sometimes talks about Jiu Jitsu, and now our Jiu Jitsu podcast has spoken about chess. It's funny. Yeah. It's funny.
That's quite cool. So if you want to learn. And you listen to their stuff. You were saying,
it's great. Listen to every episode so far.
On taking Kieren's word for it, if you're into chess,
you'll like it.
Go check out their podcast. But yeah, guys, sorry for the derail, but it's kind of our thing.
No one's listening, bro. Yeah. We lost everyone, bro.
Yeah. But
let's be honest, 20-minute mark, we had a drop off of like 99%.
Nah, it's all right.
Only Anthony's listening. Yeah. Probably not even Anthony.
Yeah, he's gone. However, if you are still listening, I think next week's episode should be a good one. Got some changes and some news that we'll be talking about in that episode. So
Absolutely.
I'll look forward to going into more detail about that, which if you think back to, there was an episode a while ago, we did the sort of what was it called? We did an episode talking about what's going on, and it was sort of almost like an update on what we've been up to and stuff sort of episode.
It was alluded to,
Yeah, it was alluded to in that episode. So that'll be officially out of the bag next week.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I'm not even going to ask if you enjoyed the episode.
We know you did.
Yeah. Here we are. But anyway, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.